Most people think a $10 stock has more upside than a $200 stock. That sounds logical. You can buy more shares. It feels cheaper. It feels like you found something before Wall Street did. But that is exactly how investors get trapped. A $10 stock can be wildly expensive. A $200 stock can be a bargain. The difference is not the number on your screen. It is what you are actually buying: the company's debt, cash flow, earnings, and the number of shares that may exist tomorrow. One tiny stock can look almost free while it is burning cash, piling on debt, and printing billions of new shares. In this video, you will see the financial math behind the $10 trap, a real US microcap example, and the simple checklist that separates a cheap stock from a cheap-looking disaster. Here is the illusion. You open a trading app. One stock costs $10. Another costs $200. Your brain says the $10 stock can double much more easily. But a stock does not double because it has a low price. It doubles because the entire business becomes more valuable, or because investors become willing to pay more for the business. The price of one share is just a label. Think of pizza. Would you say one pizza is cheaper because it is cut into 100 slices instead of 10? Of course not. You still need to know the total price of the pizza, the ingredients, and whether anyone wants to buy it. Stocks work the same way. Let's make this painfully simple. Company A trades at $10 per share and has 1 billion shares outstanding. That means investors value the company's equity at $10 billion. Company B trades at $200 per share and has 50 million shares outstanding. That also means investors value the company's equity at $10 billion. Same market value, completely different share price. So the question is not, how many shares can I buy? The real question is, how much am I paying for the business behind those shares? And it gets more important when debt enters the picture. If Company A has $5 billion in net debt and Company B has no net debt, Company A's operating business is effectively valued at $15 billion, while Company B's is valued at $10 billion. That number is called enterprise value. If you remember only one phrase from this video, remember this: share price tells you what one slice costs. Enterprise value tells you what the whole pizza costs. Before we go further, stay until the end, because the final checklist is designed to help you reject bad low-price stocks in under a few minutes, before you get emotionally attached to the ticker. Low-priced stocks trigger something emotional. You can own 1,000 shares instead of 5. You can imagine the stock going from $1 to $10. That sounds like a life-changing move. Meanwhile, a $200 company feels like it already had its run. But that is not analysis. That is packaging. Research has found that retail investors tend to prefer lower-priced stocks, and low-price holdings can appeal because they resemble lottery-style bets with a small chance of a huge payoff. That does not mean every low-price stock is bad. It means the price label can make you ignore the business. And when you ignore the business, you become vulnerable to the things that actually destroy shareholder value: debt, cash burn, weak revenue, bad financing, and dilution. Dilution is where this gets ugly. Imagine you own 100 shares of a company with 1,000 total shares. You own 10%, then the company needs cash. It issues another 1,000 shares. You still own 100 shares. But now you own only 5%. You did not sell anything. Your ownership was cut in half. That is what happens when a company repeatedly raises money by issuing stock, preferred shares, warrants, or convertible securities. The business may keep surviving, but the investor slice of the business can keep shrinking. This is why some investors make the biggest mistake of all. They watch a stock price go from fractions of a cent to a penny and say it is up 10 times. But if the share count has exploded even faster, the company may not have created anything close to 10x more value for shareholders. Price alone can tell a very convincing lie. Let's look at a real example, not as a prediction, not as a recommendation, and not as an attack on a company. This is an educational reality check. Healthier Choices Management Corp. known as HCMC, is the kind of micro-cap ticker that can attract attention because its nominal share price is extremely small. To a new investor, a quote that tiny can feel like a secret opportunity. But the company's own filings tell you what matters more than the quote. For the quarter ended March 31st, 2026, HCMC reported zero net sales, an operating loss of roughly $806,000, and a net loss of roughly $787,000. It also reported operating cash outflow of roughly $609,000. At the end of that quarter, the company disclosed about $1.1 million in cash, negative working capital of roughly $800,000, and a stockholders deficit. Then comes the financing. HCMC disclosed a $5 million unsecured revolving facility with Savvy Volatility Warrant Master Fund. The initial advance was $500,000, and the facility carried 12% annual interest. That does not automatically mean disaster. It does mean that a serious investor has to ask serious questions. Can the business reach sustainable revenue? Can it cover operating costs? Will it need more financing? And if it needs more financing, what happens to the common shareholder? Now look at the share count. HCMC reported roughly 527 billion common shares outstanding in May 2026. The company also disclosed 2 billion shares issued during the first quarter for a debt settlement. That is the entire point. A microscopic share price does not make a company cheap when the share count is measured in hundreds of billions and the business still needs external funding. The company also faced a patent setback. In March 2026, the Patent Trial and Appeal Board found the challenged claims in HCMC's asserted patent unpatentable in its dispute with R.J. Reynolds. Again, this is not a forecast. A stock can move for many reasons. A company can attempt a turnaround, but the investment lesson is clear. You do not buy a number on a screen. You buy the cash flows, obligations, risks, and future share count behind it. Now here is the important distinction. Avoiding penny stock traps does not mean every opportunity is in giant tech companies. There can be genuine value in small and mid-cap stocks. But the good opportunities usually do not scream at you with a tiny quote. They show up in the numbers. Earlier this year, market data showed signs of investors broadening beyond large technology companies. Morningstar reported that small caps were outperforming large caps at that point in the year. By mid-year, Morningstar's valuation work still characterized small cap core and small value equities as relatively inexpensive compared with the broader market. But do not turn that into a lazy rule like sell tech, buy small caps. That is not how smart investing works. Some small companies are cheap because Wall Street has ignored a healthy, profitable business. Others are cheap because the business is deteriorating. Some large technology companies are expensive. Others may be undervalued relative to their future cash flow. The opportunity is not in a sector label. The opportunity is in the gap between what the market fears and what the financial statements prove. Here is the filter. When you see a so-called cheap stock, do not ask, can it go to $10? Ask these 5 questions. First, does it make money? Look for positive revenue, positive operating income, and positive free cash flow. If the company is losing money, that does not automatically make it uninvestable, but it changes the category. You are no longer looking at a classic value investment. You are looking at a speculative turnaround or venture-style bet. Second, can it survive without constantly selling more stock? Check cash. Check debt maturities. Check interest expense. Check whether the company is funding normal operations with new share issuance. Third, is the share count rising or falling? A company buying back shares with real free cash flow is very different from a company issuing shares to pay bills. Fourth, is it actually cheap relative to the business? Look at price to earnings if earnings are real and stable. Look at enterprise value to EBITDA. Look at free cash flow yield. Look at price to book for certain banks and insurers. Then compare those figures to competitors and to the company's own history. Fifth, what could change the market's mind? A cheap stock can stay cheap for years. You need a reason. Debt reduction, improving margins, a product launch, A cycle turning, insider buying, a buyback, or earnings finally proving the market wrong. If you want, comment checklist below and say which one you want next. A simple stock screening template or a video breaking down the most dangerous dilution red flags. And do not click away yet, because one final principle can save you from almost every bad, cheap stock pitch. The most dangerous sentence in investing is, "It is only a few dollars." A few dollars per share can still represent a business worth billions. A fraction of a cent can still be expensive if it owns weak assets, burns cash, carries debt, and keeps issuing shares. And a $200 stock can be cheap if it produces strong free cash flow, has a durable competitive advantage, and the market is underestimating its future. So stop asking how many shares you can buy. Ask what each share gives you a claim on: revenue, cash flow, assets, debt, and future ownership. This channel does not provide financial advice. Everything here is for educational and informational purposes only. Always do your own research and consider speaking with a qualified financial professional before making investment decisions. The next time you see a stock trading at $10, $1, or a fraction of a cent, do not ask whether it can become the next big winner. Ask a harder question: what am I really buying?